Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar, Get Efficient Reporting with Xero Report Templates. This session is for accountants and bookkeepers, but of course everyone is welcome to stay and ask questions. My name is Shimmy and I'm part of the education team. This is the last week of Education Month. I hope you've had a chance to check out some of the other webinars that were available during November and this past week in December, and that you found them useful in helping you in your practice to grow and thrive. We've been hearing from our partners that you often feel that you don't have time to create and edit report templates, believing it to be quite a time-consuming process. So today, I'll be showing you just how quickly you can set up a template, which can actually deliver an incredible amount of value to your clients with just a few minor tweaks. So what's on the agenda for this session? We'll start with an introduction to report templates and we'll look at the key features to save you time. Then we'll jump straight into a live demo where we'll go through the best ways to use report templates, from creating them at practice level to running it at client level, and share tips and tricks along the way. And lastly, I'll leave you with some resources and information on where you can get further help. Now, please be aware that this session is aimed at those who would like to know more about report templates and are getting started, rather than for the advanced users of report templates. So what are report templates? As you may already know, report templates streamline your client reporting, allowing you to set up templates at practice level and apply them across your entire client base. This works really well for the different groups your clients fall into, such as entity types, i.e. company, partnership, trust, sole trader, not-for-profit, and also industry, especially where there are industry-specific reporting requirements. And for industry, you can go a level further by breaking it down by the entity type as well. And this is because generally the base of the reports are going to be the same for these groups, so the template can be used for all clients of that group. The practice-wide templates in Xero HQ are typically a one-time setup, and ideally, these templates might complete 80 to 90% of the report preparation work for you. That's pretty amazing, right? You can then run your template at the client level in their Xero organization, and all the customizations will apply regardless of which client you run that template in. And then from the client level, you just need to make a few minor client-specific changes to complete that final 10 to 20% of the work. This streamlines your reporting processes, as the bulk of the customization has already been completed at the practice level as part of your initial setup. And you can scale your process across a number of clients and significantly reduce the time taken to prepare client reports. And the good news is that Xero provides some standard templates to get you started, such as annual accounts, and I'll touch on this a bit more when we get to the demo. You may be thinking, how do we do this when every one of my clients' chart of account codes is set up differently? That's a great question. We're able to do this using report codes because we populate these report templates using report codes. We map each client's chart of accounts to a particular report code, and then this code drives where each client's account appears on the reports when they're run at the client level. So let's just look at a small example. On the left, we see that this client has a few different expense accounts, and this is how they've set it up. So we've got some utilities, office expense, internet expense, salary, and depreciation. Then in the middle is where we map the accounts to the relevant report codes. And then on the far right, you can see where the report codes display in the profit and loss report as an example. So we would expect these accounts to pull through here when we're running it in the client organization. And Xero helps us out at this step and automatically assigns each account code to a broad top-level report code from the get-go. This means that the reports will still work, but ideally, we do want to make the mapping as specific as possible, which we'll see later in the demo. And this is also usually a one-time setup when you take on a new client. Now, that's how financial information automatically populates from the client's chart of accounts based on report codes. Now let's look at the non-financial information. To help you save time customizing for each individual client, we can also build our reports using report fields for the non-financial information so that it automatically populates as well. Report fields are essentially placeholders or merge fields, and Xero will automatically populate the text into your report templates so that you don't have to keep typing in the same information time and time again. These are really handy to include in text-based reports, such as the notes to the financial statements, compilation reports, or the director reports. And we set report fields up in Xero HQ, and there are two types. The first is practice fields, which we see on this slide. Practice fields relate to your own practice and are applicable across all clients. For example, your practice name, address, and accounting partner names. And these can be filled in at the same time as you create them. The second is client fields. Client fields are client-specific, as the name suggests. For example, shareholder or director names, or maybe the entry method the organization uses. Therefore, client fields do need to be completed in the Client Xero organization before they pull through into the reports. Xero also has some default fields using data already entered elsewhere in Xero, for example, the legal and trading name or reporting dates. So let's jump into Xero HQ and go through some of these features in a bit more detail. Now for our demo today, I'll be using the AU version of Xero HQ as well as the demo company. So for those joining us from New Zealand and Asia, your HQ and demo company may look slightly different to mine. And to create a professional set of reports for your clients that are on brand with your practice, we first need to add a report style that includes your practice logo, a title color, and font size of your choice. And to do this, we'll access the Reports tab, and from here, we'll click into Report Styles, just this button that I'm hovering my mouse over. So first, add your practice logo using the Choose Logo button, and then browse and select it. Next, we can choose our font color. So whatever your practice's brand color is, you can select it in here using the color map, or if you know the color code, you can put it in here. But we also have this custom, I guess, what do we call this? A little custom color picker. So if I click into it, I can actually go to the background of the logo I uploaded and quickly get it that way. Nice and easy. And then the font size. And we're going to make this 12 points for optimum legibility. And then on the bottom right, you can see a preview of how this is going to look. And then once you're happy, scroll back to the top and on the top right, click on Save. Now, I should mention that in order to be able to set up your report styles, you will need to have the admin user role in Xero HQ. So if you don't see this option, then it probably means that you don't have this user permission. So just get in touch with an admin user to set this up for you. Once the report style is set up, you don't need to worry about your staff members sending out reports that aren't using your practice's preferred style. The default styles you set here will show on draft and published PDF reports for your clients. And now we find ourselves back on the reports main tab. And only users with the Edit Report Templates permission in HQ are able to see and access this tab. And this ensures that we don't have multiple staff members creating reports and causing confusion. But all other practice staff will still be able to run these templates in the client organizations. So in the Ready to Use tab, you'll see all the templates available to run in the client's organization. When creating report templates at practice level, you don't need to reinvent the wheel and build a report template from scratch. Instead, this is our top tip. You can copy another report template that is the closest match to what you're wanting to create, and then customize and make changes from there. As mentioned earlier, for some regions, Xero provides some pre-built templates ready for you to copy and use. And you can use these as a base and then make the changes to suit your practice and your clients. So for those in AU, you'll see Xero provides templates for management reports, annual accounts for trusts, partnerships, sole traders, company, as well as reporting for not-for-profit entities. For those in New Zealand, you'll see that Xero provides templates for management reporting and annual accounts as well as reporting for not-for-profit entities, more specialised industry reporting for farming and agriculture, and a lot more. If you are joined from Asia, then yours is slightly different. Please reach out to your account manager and they'll be able to help you load a full set of financials in your Xero HQ. And today, I'm going to show you how to quickly create industry-specific reports using an existing template as a base. So let's go ahead and create a new trade and construction template, but you can follow this process for any industry that you service. So to do this, instead of clicking the new template, there is a little drop-down arrow. If we click on it, we can select Copy From. And then from here, we want to select the template that is the closest match to what we're trying to create. So in this instance, we'll use the company annual accounts provided by Xero. And then we'll just rename this. So I'll call it Trade. And then click on Copy. Now, if we were to have used the new template button, we'd have to add the reports that we want to include one by one. So this is a really efficient way of quickly creating report templates rather than using that new template option. And straight away, we can see the overall pack date range at the top here. And if we click into the contents, you can see all of the different reports that are included in this template. And of course, we can reorder and remove the reports as we like. So I'll get rid of the trading statement. So to remove, just click on the trash can icon. So get rid of the trading statement and the summarized balance sheet. And if you want to sort them, simply drag and drop them to the order that you'd like them to sit. For example, let's just move shareholder accounts just above dividend declaration and then click Apply. And if you want to add extra reports, you can do so using the Add Report button here. So first we'll look at the income statement, better known as the profit and loss. I'm going to quickly rename it because that's what we refer to it for most of our clients. So I've just clicked onto the title, overwritten it, and if I click out, done. Nice and easy. This report is populated with accounts and figures because we are previewing it for the demo company. But if you do want to preview it for a particular client, you can do so by clicking on the options button on the top right and then selecting preview for organization. And then you're offered a list of all the client organizations you have access to. Now I'm going to leave it as the demo company for the rest of this demo. And then in the more option, you can see that you can change the accounting basis as well as choose some columns to include or exclude, such as decimals and account codes. So these reports are really intuitive. It's quite easy to learn and it's user-friendly. So I really do believe that you'll pick it up in no time at all. And they're super easy to customize as well. On the bottom left hand, we have a powerful edit layout feature. And I'll just hover my mouse around that button now. And this allows you to customize the layout to suit your practice and your clients. And as mentioned before, we always recommend making the majority of changes in the template at practice level so that any client-specific changes in their Xero organization is minimal. And here we can see the bone structure of the profit and loss report, which is at the top of the list. And you can see that it's made up of groups and subgroups, and these are all indicated by the bold headings. And we also have formulas. So if I scroll down, we'll see a little blue formula icon. Here's one. And 3 more. And then we can also see report codes. And the key difference is that at client level, the report is made up of account codes, but at practice level, these will be replaced with the report codes. If I scroll back to the top and we look at our income groups, all of these different revenue report codes probably are not going to apply for most of our clients. They're not going to have all of these different revenue types. However, when we run the report for the client organization, if the client doesn't have the accounts mapped to these report codes, then they simply won't show in the report. And this is how we ensure that the report works for all clients. And as we're creating this new template for my construction clients, I'm going to update the heading for trading profit to construction income. And I'm going to change service income to labor income. And that's done. It's also very easy to move report codes around and group them together. For example, if we scroll back down to the bottom, we have quite a few user-defined expenses. So let's pretend these are all interest expenses that can be grouped with this report code up here, interest and finance charges. So to select all of these and group them together, you can either hold down the control key if you use a PC or the command key if you're on a Mac. So I'm going to hold down my command key and then simply select the account that you want to group together. And once you're done, on the right-hand side, click on Group Selection, and then you can give it a name. So we'll call this interest expenses. Oh, my typing is really terrible. Okay, and that's done. And then if we want to move it, we can by dragging and dropping. So let's go ahead and move this under travel and accommodation. Now, right now, each interest report code will be displayed under the group heading. But if we don't actually need that level of detail, we can click on this arrow to collapse it so that we see the balance is one line. And so that can really help declutter the report. And then at the top of the screen, you'll see all the other customization tools like text blocks, schedules, footers, rows, columns, as well as page breaks. Now, we won't have time to demo them all today for you. So today, I'm just going to cover some rows and columns, starting with rows. So if I click on it, we've got two options, group and formula. So you can also create groups for rows from here. And when you do it this way, you'll need to drag and drop the accounts to it. And we also have formulas. So at the bottom, we have a formula for gross profit, which is called profit loss before taxation. But maybe we'd like to see this as a percentage. So we can add a formula for this. But before I do that, I'm just going to rename this to gross profit. And then I'll go back to rows and click on formula. And this is going to add the new formula to the bottom. And I'm just going to drag this and put it right underneath gross profit. And then on the right-hand side, we can enter in our calculation formula. So this is going to be our gross profit divided by our total income. So I'm going to put that into brackets. And if we use the insert, that will ensure that it pulls through the right calculations. And we can use the search to quickly filter that list. Total income, close bracket, and then we will times that by 100 to give us a percentage. And then we give it a name. Gross profit percentage. And that's done. Next, let's look at columns. So if I go back to the top and click on columns, you can see that we've got quite a few options. We can add columns for multiple date ranges as well as budgets. We can also add formulas and columns, notes, percentage, and variance. Let's go ahead and add a variance percentage for the year-on-year comparison. So I'll go ahead and click variance. And you can see my report, I've already got it for the last financial year, 2023 and 2022. So if I want to see the variance between these two, if I click on it on the right-hand side again, in first column, we'll select 2023, and the second column, 2022. And if we want to see it as a percentage, tick it here, and it's already got a column heading, so I don't need to type anything in there. So this is going to show us a change between our current and comparison period. And for some clients, you may wish to compare the actual budget figures with the actuals, and then have a variance to really help them stay on track and monitor how they're tracking against their budgets. And before we preview the changes that I've just made, I want to show you a couple more features we can do within the layout editor. And you'll see on the left-hand side, we have the ability to switch to other reports and edit them too. So let's quickly go to the balance sheet. Now, the changes we made to the P&L can also be made to the balance sheet. So here, I just want to show you the switch rules function. Switch rules are rules that can be set up for swinging accounts. So this means that they may have a debit balance one year, but a credit balance in the next year. So for example, when bank accounts go into overdraft, rather than leaving it sit under assets with a negative balance, Xero can actually move that bank account under liabilities for you, where it makes a little bit more sense. And so to do this, simply select the group that you'd like to apply the switch rule to. So in this case, we can select bank accounts. And then on the right-hand side again, under rules, this is where we can enter our rule. And this is already set up for us. If items are negative, move it to bank overdraft. I might just change that to current liabilities. Here we go. And then click done. And once that's done, you'll see a little arrow symbol next to the header. And that just indicates where a switch rule is in place. So there's also one for GST. So this is just another small and quick customization that you can make here at practice level that's going to save you and your staff so much time from manually making these edits at client level for every client. And the last thing I want to look at before we preview our changes is report fields. When we create reports, we don't want to be typing out personal information like the director names, client addresses over and over. And this is where report fields comes in. So let's look at the compilation report. This report is made up of different text boxes. And you'll see that some fields are in little grey boxes, such as the legal or trading name and the report end date. So these indicate report fields, and when used, Xero is going to fill them in at the client level. These are actually built-in report fields that Xero has provided by default. So the legal or trading name comes from the organization detail screen within your client's organization, and the report end date pulls through from the overall date of the report being run. But if I scroll down to the bottom, we can see there's some highlighted text, and this flags anything that needs to be updated manually when we run it for the clients. However, instead of manually entering this in each time we run it for the clients, we can create a report field so that it automatically populates for us. I've actually created these already beforehand, so I'll go ahead and replace it and show you. So instead of typing in the practice details and address here, I'm going to get rid of that. And on the right-hand side where it says insert field, this is where we can select from all of the report fields already created in our practice. And so I'll go ahead and select practice legal trading name, and then the practice address. Okay. And then if I scroll up to the responsibility of the directors, I want to show the director names here as it when the report is being run as well. So I'm just going to add it in as well. I've already pre-created these, so it's going to be the same process. I'm going to put the mouse cursor where I want it to go, click on insert field, and then I'm going to select the director placeholders. Director 1. And for most of the clients in our practice, there's about 3 directors. So I'm going to add 3. Now, if report fields have not been set up yet, you can add them from this screen. So let's show you this as well. So in the insert field right at the bottom, you can create new report fields as well as organize them. Now I'm going to right click on create new and open it in a new window. So just to make it easier for navigation coming back to the screen later. And here we can see all the report fields that are already created for this practice. And then we can use the Add Report Field button to create more. And when you set them up, you can see that you can choose between client and practice fields. For the client fields, these will need to be mapped at the client level before they pull into your reports. And for the practice fields, you can fill it out as you're creating it. So I'm going to create one for the director names, just a text field for the director names so that the staff don't need to enter in each time. So in the name, I'm going to call this director names intro. And in the content, I'm just going to copy and paste because my typing is not the best. I'm going to put in the directors of the company and office at the date of the statement are, and then click on save. And now that's done, if I go back to the edit layout screen, now I am going to have to refresh this before we can select it. So I'm going to click on update layout on the top right and come back in. Okay, so I'll go back to edit layout. Put my mouse cursor where I want it to sit and then click on insert field and we should see it here. Director names intro, there we go. And there we have it. So this time, let's go ahead and click Update Layout. So now we've created our template at the practice level, customize the layout of our reports using report codes and edit in report fields. This template is set up the way we want and gets us closer to a complete report. So we can go ahead and click Ready to Use if we want to take a look at it from our clients or run it from our clients' organizations. So we'll go ahead and do that on the bottom right-hand corner, Ready to Use. And then click Ready to Use again. Excuse me. And now let's go have a look at this from the client's organization. So I'll just click on the organization drop-down menu, and I'm going to go to Demo Construction, which is my demo company, which I've just renamed to Demo Construction. So in the client organization, the first thing we'll need to do is ensure that our report looks the way we want them to, is to map the report codes to the client's chart of accounts. And to do this, we can go to Accounting, Advanced, and then Report Codes just under Advanced Settings here. Xero automatically takes us to the For Review tab, which lists all the accounts requiring our attention. As this is the first time we're mapping report codes for the client, it can be quite time consuming to go through each of these individually from the screen. So to save time, you can actually export and import the report code mapping by clicking on the export and the import buttons here. And this allows you to map the report codes in bulk from a CSV file rather than doing it one by one. Or your practice may consider having a practice chart of accounts template with report code mapping that you can use across all of your clients. So that might be something you want to check before you go and complete this process. And I'll just show you what a report codes file looks like. I've got one here. So here's the one I've set up for my practice. And it's exactly the same as the chart of accounts input template, with the mandatory columns being account code, account name, type, and tax code. For the report code mapping, we've added an additional column, report code, which is here, where you can add the relevant report codes. Some practices prefer to simply export a chart from one of the existing clients and use that as a basis for their template chart. If the report code mapping was already done for that client, then that report code mapping will also be included in that exporter file, saving you even more time. And if you do need a full list of report codes, however, you can find this on Xero Central. So if I go back to Xero, we can quickly get to Xero Central from within the client organization by clicking on the little question mark icon. And then just type in partner resources. And here we have an article called Xero Partner Resources. And if we click into it and look under reporting, you can see we've got a report codes file here for you, a list of all the report codes, as well as some information on how to get started with report templates. So that's a nice handy way of getting support while you're using Xero. You can also pop this out if you would like, if you prefer. Now, additionally, if you do want more information about what should be mapped to each report code, you can actually click into a report code. And on the right-hand side, there is a diagram which gives you a brief description of what to include and exclude in that report code. And if you want to view your other options, just use the little arrows to see them all. So that's how you can classify all of your report codes specifically for your clients. I'll cancel out of that, and instead I'm going to go ahead and import a file that I prepared earlier. Here it is. So I'll just grab that and click on import. And after importing our files, most of those accounts have moved from full review out into all accounts, which is excellent. But there are a few that didn't quite work. So what we can do is just click into them and quickly select them from here. So this is a business bank account. So select bank account. Do the same for business savings account. I'm just going to leave that at top level for now. That's the correct one. I am doing these quite quickly because I am aware of the time. So just keep these at top level. Here's another bank account. And one more. Excellent. Now all of our accounts are now mapped to report codes. Next, before we run the report, let's fill out the report fields that we created in practice. So we'll go back to the advanced settings and we can use this little breadcrumb link on the top left. And this time we want to select report fields. And from here, we can see all of the report fields that are set up in the practice. Now, this is just a demo account. So when you look at for your practice, you may see a whole lot more here. And we'll just go out and fill out the report fields that are relevant for the clients. So you don't have to go through and fill out every single one. But let's quickly just go ahead and fill out a couple of director names. So for this company, we only have 2 directors, not 4. So I'll just fill out 2. First, and then we can go to the next one, save and go to the next one. And this is husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Howard. And then we can click out. I'll just fill those 2 out for now, but if there were others, I can just click into them and fill them out here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and preview that report template that we created earlier. So this time we'll go to the main reports menu via accounting and reports. And all our report templates can be found in the advisor tab here. And all published report templates will be displayed here for you to select from. And until they're published, you won't see them. So any in drafts, you won't be able to select. So here's the trade and construction one we created earlier. So go ahead and click on that. So these report templates will only be available for your practice staff. They won't be visible to your clients. So first off, we have our profit and loss. And straight away, we can see our 2023 year compared with the previous year and the variance percentage. And look at that. It is so easy to quickly see where there are really, I guess, unusual changes. So you can quickly go through and quickly see what looks unusual and you might need to dive into a little bit further. And here we also have that formula we created for the gross profit percentage as well. Now, in this example, there aren't any further client-specific changes to make because the original template has met all our customization needs. However, if we did want to make more edits just for this client, we do have that same powerful edit layout option from within the client level as well. And remember, any changes made at the client level is only going to apply for that specific client. So if you do want it to apply across all of your clients, then go back and do it from Xero HQ at the practice level. Now, if I scroll to the top, you can see we've also got a contents drop down, so you can still further reorder and remove reports from here, as well as add new reports. And if I jump to the compilation reports, let's look at those report fields. So if we scroll down, here we go. We can see the responsibility of the directors. We've got that nice intro as well as the director names. Now, we only have 2 for this company. So what we need to do is go ahead and delete this last one for this client. So click on Edit Layout. And for this field, I'm just going to delete it. Oh, I'm having some issues with my delete button. I really need a new laptop. Apologies about this. I don't want to delete the entire text block. All right, that should be deleting, but for some reason it's not deleting for me right now. But I think you'll be able to imagine what that would look like if I were to go ahead and delete it. We'll just carry on. And if I scroll down, we can also see that my practice name and address fields have pulled through for me. So that's all those merge fields working for us now, with the exception of that annoying director 3. Now, I do want to point out one more thing while we're in here. I just want to point out a few of the extra reports that you can add here. We won't do it today, but I just want to call them out for you. So first we have blank reports. So this can be really useful for you for creating your own custom schedules and reports, or for adding in text-based information such as minutes or resolutions. And if we scroll down, we've also got a depreciation schedule and disposal schedule. So Xero has a built-in fixed assets register, and we'll pull all the figures from the register directly into this report. So you don't need to worry about combining this separately. And we also have some age payable and age receivable reports, which is really great to include for management reporting. And the last report I want to point out in here is the account transactions. Now we can just search for it, so we can go ahead and do that. Here we go, account transactions. So this report shows you a breakdown of all the individual transactions within the selected accounts, and that's a really great way to see both sides of the general ledger. And because this client requires no further edits, we're ready to publish this report. So on the bottom right-hand corner, go ahead and click Publish. And then we can choose a cover page or contents. And if we scroll to the bottom, we can see the default style we created earlier as well, applied here, along with our practice logo. And before finalizing the report, a little feature I want to call out as well is the ability to add a watermark. So I'm going to go ahead and click Final. And any changes made to the transactions in the reports period will not be reflected in the published report. So let's go ahead and click Save. And then now we have the option to export this report. So if we click on the 3 little dots on the right-hand side, got quite a few options. We can add it to a document pack, and we can export it to PDF, Sheets, or Excel. So let's click on Export to PDF so we can preview it. And I'll just pull it into view. Okay, so you can see we've got a professional set of financial reports with our practice branding. The contents are automated for us, and that watermark displays diagonally across the page as well. So here's the contents and our first report, the profit and loss. So in the first year of using Xero's report templates, there is a little bit of initial work to do. We need to set up the templates at practice level, enter our report fields, and customize our financial reports using report codes, as well as map them. However, we only need to do this once, and this allows us to run the template in a client organization. And in the client organization, the majority of the report preparation work is already completed for us, so that all we need to do is make those minor client-specific edits. And while we've already seen a reduction in time taken to prepare a report, the second period of using Xero's report templates is where we really start to see some efficiencies. In the second period, rather than running the template again and redoing our client-specific edits that we've done, all you need to do is click into that publish report, scroll down, and we've got a button called copy and edit. So I'll just go back and show you that. So here is our published report. So let's click back into it. And on the bottom left, we have this wonderful copy and edit button here. So this is going to create a new draft report based off this published report with all of those customizations that we made in the first period included for us. So if I go ahead and click copy and edit, all that I'm going to do in here is change the financial year from last financial year to this financial year. So in the date range, I'm just going to use the preset this financial year. And you can see that we're now looking at 2024 versus 2023 in the variance. Now this period hasn't quite finished yet, so it's not looking as positive as the previous year. But in a matter of seconds, we now have two reports. If I go ahead and click published for both of our financial years. So by using Xero's report templates and this copy and edit feature, we can see significant time savings when it comes to, go ahead and click save on that one too, preparing annual accounts or even quarterly or monthly management style reports, just by rolling them forward each period. Okay. So to wrap up, I'd like to leave you with a few key takeaways. Customize, don't reinvent. Use the Xero provided templates to build your template from, or copy previous templates from your practice. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Create a practice chart of accounts template as well. You've already increased efficiencies by auto-populating financial information directly from the client's ledger using report codes. And as mentioned earlier, you can limit access to Xero HQ report templates to only those staff members who actually need it. And lastly, you can streamline your workflow in future periods by using the copy and edit function that we just went through. The great news is that we have a course which includes a video demonstration that you can watch and rewatch at any time. And I'll get Dan to pop a link to it into the chat box for you now. Otherwise, you can quickly find step-by-step instruction guides by simply typing in the keywords report templates into the search bar within Xero Central. And there are articles to cover everything that we've looked at today. And of course, don't forget, If you can't find the answers you're looking for and you do need more help, you can also raise a case to our support team, and they'll be more than happy to assist you as well. And as mentioned at the start, this is the last week of Education Month, but we have made recordings of some of our most popular sessions available on Xero Central. So if you have missed out or want to rewatch a session, you can check them out. And you can access these recordings by scanning that QR code, but Dan will also pop a link into the chat box to make it nice and handy for you as well. I do want to emphasize that you do need to be logged into Xero Central to see the webinar recordings. And you'll find some really great content around practice apps, how to migrate your clients' data faster, how to showcase the value of Xero to your clients, and much more. But also for your small business clients, they'll find some great on-demand content around cash flow, tips and tricks for using Xero, and more. And that brings us to the end of this webinar. Once again, thank you for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in a future webinar soon. Take care. Bye-bye.